And now the international news. In Algiers, the conflict is boiling over between the governing Supreme State Council under the leadership of Mohamed Boudaïef and the Islamic Salvation Front Party, which had an almost complete victory in the parliamentary elections at the end of last year. Their program is the abolition of all democratic liberties and the creation of an Islamic state governed by the laws of the Quran. These parliamentary elections were nullified. Yesterday at 5 a.m., Algiers came under a state of emergency. This could have been expected. Conflicts between law enforcement officials and activists have risen to the level of a national tragedy. The National Islamic Salvation Front members have decided to go underground and call for a general uprising. As a result, so far, 40 people have been killed, 200 wounded, and several hundred extremists have been arrested. Among the casualties are many innocent people who were simply caught in the crossfire. The state of emergency will continue for 12 months in the capital. Mohamed Boudaïef said that parties are not being outlawed, but that he is proposing that the Islamic Salvation Front Party be suspended because of its illegal and violent activities. Today in Brussels, there was a meeting of the European Community at the level of the Ministers of Economics and Finance. The main issue was the question of financial assistance to the countries of the former Soviet Union. In Romania, the local elections have been completed. Votes are now being counted. The Central Election Commission said that the elections were held in a calm atmosphere. However, voter turnout was lower than expected. The preliminary results of the voting will be announced this evening. In the last 2 days, 15 people have been killed. The bloodshed is coming in conflicts between the African National Congress and the Zulu group Inkatha Freedom Party. Most of the fighting is in the areas around Johannesburg, where there is a large concentration of black population. The Supreme Court of Israel has begun considering the appeals of Palestinians who were deported from the country. The plaintiffs are 12 Palestinians from the Gaza Strip area of the West Bank who were accused of anti-government activities. 67 Palestinians have been deported so far, which the international community considers to be a violation of international law. Today in St. Petersburg, there was a moment of silence for the 155th anniversary of the death of Alexander Pushkin. In this distant time, the intelligentsia said that Russia's brightest star was shining. The star still shines on us and also foresees the unpredictable events of our lives. This is the place where the poet spent his final hours and minutes. The mortally wounded Pushkin was brought here. People gathered to mark this day today, to lay flowers at the monument of Russia's first poet. On January 29th, 1837, which is February 10th in the new calendar style, at 2:45, the clocks were stopped when Pushkin died. When's the last time you read Pushkin? When I was in school. And none at all since then? Oh, it's a long time ago. When? When I was in school. And since then you haven't read it? No, the time is so full now that there is no time left over for reading literature. Life is such that there are problems. I read only the newspapers and magazines. We don't. When's the last time you read Pushkin? Pushkin? In school. How long ago was that? About 7 years ago. And you haven't read it since then? Well, do you remember Pushkin's lines? We read in school, I erected a monument to myself not made of stone. So what's going on? I guess we're not reading him. Several minutes are left before the celebration tonight. Do you have a favorite line from Pushkin? Can you tell us? Frost and sun, a miraculous day, a good friend at once appears. This year the autumn weather lingered long in the yard. Winter waited, nature held the snow till January. Awaking early, Tatana looked out the window, saw whitened fields and fence and forest. I remember the miraculous moment when you first appeared before me. I love you. Is that all? Love can still happen, and so on. As the news now ends, let's turn off the television, take a book from the shelf and read Pushkin, at least today, on his day. Well, the news is not over yet. More news about modern art now. For the first time our cinema fans can see the works of the great New Wave director Jean-Luc Godard. This film festival of his films will show his most famous films, including The Final Breath, Carmen, and others. At the Cinema Center in Moscow, the showing of one of the greatest and most paradoxical directors of the French cinema has begun. He is Jean-Luc Godard. Over 30 years ago, the New Wave began, of which he is a representative. They rejected the traditional cinematography and became a sensation in the film world. How do you feel about the cinema as a profession? I turn life into an illusion. It's not... the reality that is inside me is important to me, and I give this to the judgment of the viewer, so they can judge how others live. Young people today think it's easy to make a great film, but it was very difficult for us. I'm 60 years old, but I feel younger than many directors. Good evening. The third day of the Olympic Games brought no success to our team, unfortunately. Our hopes were connected with the 30-kilometer classical cross-country race, if only because our female skier won the 15-kilometer race yesterday. We had hopes for Alexei Prokhorov, who was the Olympic champion in Calgary 4 years ago. The competition also feared our Vladimir Smirnov, but he ended up only in 9th place, but it was the best result of our team. The winner was from Norway. The Italian Albarello came in 4th. Langley got the bronze, Daly second, and the champion was Vegard Ulvang. The Norwegian coach called him the favorite for the gold at the beginning of the race, and as you see, he was right. The two-day luge competition on the single luge is being completed today. The favorites are the Austrians Schmidt and Prochler and the Georg Hart from Germany. These sportsmen have won European championships. You will see the victor in our special Olympic report, which will be shown immediately after the news. In this special, you will also see the results of the 500-meter women's speed skating race. The favorite here is the German skater Christa Luding, but there are also serious contenders for Olympic gold among the American team. The results of our figure skaters will bring us joy, we believe, at the Olympic Games. Yesterday, with the original program competition, the world champions Natalie Mishkutyonok and Artur Dmitriev won the gold. In second place were Yelena Pechki and Denis Petrov. It is hard to imagine the genuine pride of the Norwegian team as they scored their only goal against the unified team, bringing the score to 8-1. Our team won 8-1 in the final, the same score with which they beat the Swiss team. But of course, the most difficult matches are still ahead. The Czech team beat French team 6-4 today.